Gerbils become sexually mature at 10 weeks of age, sometimes as soon as 7 weeks of age. Yet despite that, many of the pairs are paired up at that young age. The female won't have pups until she's about 5 or 6 months old. Once the female is mature, she will go into heat every 4 to 6 days. Your gerbils will mate at that time, and if they did not mate successfully, they will do it again on the next heat cycle. The ritual starts with the courtship, with gerbils thumping and the male chasing the female around the tank as a little game of tag. And the mating itself, when the female is actually ready, she will present herself to the male as lifting her hindquarters and stopping as if she's stalling. This takes place for about half a second, and they'll do this many times before the process is over. It could be a few hours that day. And they will also groom each other after the mounting and clean their genitals. The gestation period for a female gerbil is 24 to 28 days on a first litter. But if she becomes pregnant again, the pregnancy will be delayed and sometimes last up to 30 to 43 days because she is nursing the other pups. Early in the pregnancy, you will not be able to tell, but the further along she goes, and around 18 to 20 days, you'll start noticing she's looking a little bit more pear-shaped. On day 20 to 23, your gerbil will definitely look pregnant. You won't have to really question because she'll be laying and sleeping a lot and also go through bouts of restlessness. And just about a day before she gives birth, you will see the pups moving within her. That means they're ready to come on out, so be prepared. It could happen within 24 hours of when you notice the pups moving within her belly. Birth, you can see that mommy is still pulling babies out, cleaning the pups as they emerge, and will eat the placenta. Babies are born pink, blind, and deaf. On day 2, dad seems restless. He's mommy. This gerbil's third litter, or third and last. Little babies. Even as early as 2 days you can tell what color the eyes will be. If the area on the eyes is dark, the dark pigment, they will have black eyes. If the pigment around the eyes is light, they will have red or ruby eyes. Moving into 4 days, pigments are much more noticeable at this point. You have a good bond with your mother and father gerbil. It will allow you to look and check in on the babies quite often. It's a very tame female I have. She's a good mummy. One little white one in this litter. Make sure to praise the parent gerbils when you interrupt their nest. I always like to cover it back up. Taking a closer look at the 4-day-old pups. Pigments are quite noticeable. You can tell we have a little light one here. Let their systems develop. They do enjoy being pet. They love warm hands. You can see little spots too if you have spotting genes. Be white patches. This one has dark on top and a light underbelly. And we take our light one. Light belly and light head. But dark eyes. What could it be? On day 5, we're going to take a look into the nest. It's a little squirmy little blind and deaf gerbils. As you can see, that light one is definitely light compared to its brothers and sisters. At about 10 days old, you can tell the genders of the babies. The mothers may choose one corner to keep the babies in, but don't expect them to keep them there. They may move the babies a few times till they find a nest that they feel the pups are safe in. Moving on to 7 days old now. Begin to get a light fuzz on them, as well as their pigments. Spotting should definitely be noticeable at this stage. Take a quick look here. Definitely has some spots. Just a little diamond on the head. Even at this early age, they will begin to crawl around. This one is very dark, but has light paws, front and back. It's good to hold them at least once every day for about no longer than 5 minutes at a time to help tame and build a bond with your little gerbils. Bonding and taming is very important to have pets that you enjoy and pets that enjoy you. This one has dark feet and a dark tail even though it's light. Pigment's starting to come in. As you can see, it's not as pink. It's still much lighter than its components. A little lined up. That one definitely is very dark. Darker, but not as dark as the first one. Darker without spots. This one here is a spotted agouti. That one's a spotted black. And the end one is a nutmeg. And the one next to it is a non-spotted agouti. It's a little bit darker. The one with the spot, you can see, got a little lighter. Spotting does cause lightness. At 8 days old, they're a little more adventurous. They begin climbing, so make sure keep an eye on them at all times on a nice soft surface. Even more pigment seems to be showing through on 8 days old. This one has an orange tint to it, I believe. Nutmeg. This one looks to be a little black gerbil. At 9 days old, even more pigment is noticeable. They have a little hard time writing themselves sometimes, but the more they try, the better they'll get at it. At 10 days old, even more color. And at this stage you can gender them by looking under their bellies. If there's not enough fluff yet, you could take a look. Female gerbils will have little teats or nipples on their bellies. Very noticeable. Males will not have the little nipples along the sides. Should be quite easy to tell. And male gerbils have a more prominent scent gland. Even at this age you could see a scent gland. It can be a little harder to gender them when they're a dark colored gerbil, but even so, looking at the teats is a good indicator. But you can always gender them again at about 4 weeks. 4 to 7 weeks there will be changes. definitely more mobile, testing out their legs. They'll give you a run for your money. Boy, are they cute. But they cannot help but be drawn in by a nice warm hand cave. Eventually they tucker out and cuddle up for a little rest under your hand nest. It's a good way to build a bond. Orange tint is definitely noticeable now. Checking in on 16 days. Mommy feeding her little babies, as you can see. Take a closer look here. It's hard to see the babies underneath feeding. 18 in our little playpen here. Babies are getting closer to opening their eyes. On day 19 to 23, the eye should open. They definitely loved a good run around. At this point, I'd say a little playpen, a barriers is definitely key. At day 19, we got our first little culprit with their eyes open. They may be a little startled when they can first see things. Living your world in darkness and then seeing all the brilliant color could be a bit terrifying, but the more you talk and bond with them, the calmer they'll get. Taking a look at them on day 19 in their playpen. Definitely see those wide eyes on the little spotted agouti. They may groom their faces and itch at their eyes to help open their eyes. They know something's happening as they can see little cracks of light. Hard to see, but this one's starting to open its little eye, just one at a time. Day 21. These two sisters seem to get along pretty well. Little buddies. They may get picking at bedding and chewing. Even the little black one without its both eyes open, it can tell. It's bedding. You gotta chew on it and make it all fluffy. Gerbils learn everything from their counter gerbils, just like children learn from their parents. It's rather cute when they begin to bicker and play. Play is important for development and hierarchy. And they may even try to take on Mom, but everything's fun to them. Right, Mommy? Yes. She'll cover them back up when she thinks it's time for them to get some rest. But it's going to be much harder because they love to wander now that they're starting to be able to see. Moving on into day 22. See Daddy on the other side. Every once in a while we gotta separate him when Mommy is in heat. And when she's not, we let them play. Let them all be a family. 22 days, even earlier they'll start picking up food and trying solids. This Bright Eyes is in front of us showing off. They begin taking little bits of food. And you will want to lower the water bottle at this stage as well. I'd say at day 20 to lower the water bottle to their height. Give them a little nest box. We're going to take a peek at day 25. All their eyes are open now, and they can see the little spy camera. It does look like a comfy nest that you just want to crawl in there and cuddle with them. nosy daddy, and mommy in the nest. As though to say, "Get out of my house. We're trying to get some sleep." But they're all so curious in the little camera. Moving on to 35 days. It's a big jump. Play with them in the tank with Daddy. Got a little play cage in there. There's all kinds of new things for them to explore and learn about. Who better to learn from their parents and exploration itself? Running in that wheel. Is it monkey see, monkey do? Seems to be the case. Yep. Learning. Learning from parents. Little nutmeg is very cream colored. Just like Dad. Look at him running in the wheel. Little man of the house. Each one will learn in their own time, but they definitely learn from each other. You give it a try. A little harder, little lady. I think your brother's got the hang of it. Go into your sleeves if you have long sleeves and you leave your arm in the tank or in the playpen. They'll definitely make use of it, and they just might tickle you to death. The little explorers, nosy gerbils. It's a good way for them to learn that hands equal fun. To give them something fun and a reward. How to climb up the arm. Better vantage points. If they see it enough, they'll learn. But so far, the inside seems like the fun part. That way I don't see them stumble around and they're not embarrassed, right? Here she comes. Show them how it's done, Pop. Crazy little critters. They're very fast. Looks like someone's trying to get up. Close. But the wheel seems to be his favorite thing. Even at this age, it's amazing how quick they learn. The little spotted black one seems to get it. He gave it a try again, but not quite. Here we go. It's quick learning. All this within a couple hours. Look in the nest on 35 days. Everybody's so curious. Getting good clips of gerbils can be hard, especially when you put the camera in the cage. They just gotta sniff it, they gotta chew it. And is it food? Is it bedding? Is it another gerbil? Gendering. As you can see, it's a little lady. Spaces between the holes is smaller. Take a look at the black gerbil. A little harder, but you can still see. There's no testes. A little lady. We're gonna jump into 41 days. Getting a little bit bigger. And the whole family, I think, is just chilling out in the cage. Running right at ya. 47 days old. Getting better at the wheel and everything else that they do. Keeping the water bottle nice and low for them, even though they're getting bigger. Our little nutmeg princess here. Her nose is getting a little darker. Underbelly is still cream colored. They like to play. And boy, do they like to eat. Make sure you have lots of food on hand. Always have available water. Don't want to stress anybody else out and cause a food fight. Look at 50 days, you can start seeing the color coming through on this nutmeg. Little dark bands here and there, especially on the tail. And the nose is darkening. 61 days. The band is in full swing. As you can see, it's a dark ticked patch or swirl of fur that will develop over the orange creamy fur. Nutmegs are very fascinating to watch molt. Begin molting about regularly 55 days. All gerbils molt, but not as drastic as a nutmeg. 69 days, a quick, good look. Look at that color coming through. Little orange cap on the head still. Right at the tip. Dark feet with dark nails. A little orange base at the bum. Pretty little gerbil. This gerbil's name is Bellflower. She's got quite a legacy behind her. Two pups are leaving the nest at 8 weeks old. It seems to be the picked little winners were the little sisters. Black spotted and the agouti spotted. Later named Little Nikki. This is Nikki. She's the adventurous one, and she was also the runt of the litter. But she's the bravest and the quickest learner. And her sister became Buttercup. You're going to start by removing the gerbils from the cage and put them in a holding cage. Just a little one while you're cleaning out their cage with a little bit of bedding in it. And you will make sure that they have their water bottle inside as well in case they get thirsty during the cleaning. But we do this pretty quick to make sure that they're not stressed. Empty out your food dish and any toys that are in the cage, such as ladders, tubes, etc. Make sure you have a bag. It is going to be what you use to clean out the cage. Plastic bags, trash bags make great bags for this. We're going to use paper towel to push out any of the bedding on your top section of the cage if you have one like mine. If not, then this is not a concern for you. If you have a topper, you want to make sure you try to get it out of all the little crevices and everything. A lot of people have wire toppers where you would just spray it with a cleaner that I'll describe later and give it a quick wipe down. Now we have everything ready. The gerbils are happily waiting for the new clean cage. We're going to move on to the next step of actually removing the bedding. Dirty bedding. You're going to get your bag, open it up, put your hands in the corners, kind of like mitts. That way you can easily scoop out the bedding, like a gerbil digging in the corner. Just going to bundle it up, try to place the bag underneath. Could be a little tricky, but you'll get the hang of it. If you don't want to use a full-size trash bag, you could also use grocery bags, the plastic ones, and use them in the same manner. Get that all good in there, and there's a little bit left over, and that's why you gotta put the bag down, try to get it as open as you can. If you can't do this by yourself, make sure you have help. And then you're going to tip the tank over the bag and empty out the remaining bedding. Practice is perfect. Now we're going to use our Fresh Results. It's a chemical-free cleaner, so that way if it does have a little residue on the glass and the animals lick it, they will not be harmed. It's all natural. You're going to give a couple sprays on the sides of your tank, like so. A liberal amount, and on the bottom. You'll use your paper towel, like squeegee, and wipe the sides thoroughly, trying to get any dust or other residues off the tank. I find that the Fresh Result is a good cleaner to use in between major cleanings. You notice there's nothing extra creepy on the tank. If you feel like it is heavily soiled, you may want to soak the whole tank in a water and soap combination for about a half hour and then rinse out thoroughly. But in this case, it shouldn't be really necessary with gerbils as they are a low odor and urine producing pet. So cleanup can be pretty much a breeze. When I get around the edges to get any dust that's been built up from them chewing. They seem to not mind hanging out in their little holding cage. But I'm sure they're a little worried as this is our new home. And if you have a topper, you will clean it in the same manner. The sides and then bottom last. Now that our tank has been set dry about 10 minutes, you're going to get your bedding and things ready to put into the tank. The boys seem eager as they see their toys awaiting. I use soft granule blend. it holds in very well with odor or urine. I'm gonna pour in just a little bit at first, just a little bit. As you can see, it doesn't look like it would be very suitable for nesting itself to make burrows. So you're just gonna lay it out on the bottom as a grounding. And then you're gonna place in your cardboard tubes, paper towel tubes, toilet paper, and cardboard little goodies you've had lying around saving for your little garbage disposal buddies. You can set it up and arrange it in a way that you think would be fun and interesting to play in. I'm sure your gerbils will appreciate it highly. But don't expect to set up something and for it to stay that way. They are very particular with how they like their house, or at least they make it seem that way. I like to put a good amount of cardboard and things to chew up in there. And over the time of them having their cage, I always add things, every day almost. So now we're going to add some more of the bedding. Kind of cover up some of the cardboard and tubes that you put in the tank. That way it's kind of hidden like a cave. Gerbils really like that. Gives them somewhere to burrow in and help if they're digging in the corners, which is stereotypical, but sometimes you buy them and they already have that behavior, so you try to help them by making a little cave so they can get in there and start it off. Now we're going to get our little butterinos out. They seem eager. We'll add a little bit of their dirty bedding in from the last cage. Smell of home. Just mix it in a little bit. A handful or two should be enough. Now time to test out new home. A little bit of running around and checking things out. It's clearly not the same, but not as stinky. Added a couple more toys in. Paper bags are great for them to shred up and chew and turn into bedding. That makes that granule bedding a lot easier to burrow in when it has paper and cardboard in it. Place our topper back on if you have one. Put the little ladder to go back up. Simple fit. However you made yours. Very easy for mine to use. Replace the water bottle with fresh new clean water in it. You might have rinsed out the bottle with hot water. And the spigot that the water comes from as well. Give it a quick hot rinse. Same thing with the food dish and allow that to dry. That way it's nice and clean. If it's extra gunky, you might want to let it soak with hot water and soap. Make sure to always rinse it very, very good. I'm going to add in a scoop of their food. Bon appetit! Put in their wheel, and that's their cage. On hot days, gerbils will play, but probably more lazily in the hot summer. Everyone wants a good grooming. On hot days, probably just lay out flat. Just be lazy. Not sleeping, just trying to stay cool. On top of the bedding. So in summer you may not need to give them as much, but still enough for them to burrow in. Male. You can definitely see that this is a boy. Between the space and the vent is much big space. Try to get our other little buddy to show ya. The other one's little. Take me out again. Definitely tame. We'll take a look at another male. Nutmegs are light-bodied, but their testicles will be darker. You can see the space in between them. Definitely a boy. Good boy. I like to reward them with a little praise. They all seem all too eager to come back out. As they can see the ladies over there. Little nibblers, give them a little push back. It's better than blowing on them. You can look at some little buddies just resting on a hot day. A fun little summer cage. Let's take a look at a female gerbil's underside. Notice that there is no testicles. It's much flatter and smoother, but still dark genitals on a nutmeg. That's pretty much it for gendering. Take a good look. And some not so great choices for cages. They may look attractive and colorful, but they're not proper for gerbils. They may chew excessively at the bars on these types of cages, and the plastic linings, they can make way of that real quick and escape, or possibly even choke on the plastic. Try to avoid these types of cages. Too small anyway. Stick with the 10-gallon and above. Types of bedding, got Carefresh confetti in a fun color. Carefresh is a fluffy bedding. We have aspen bedding. Look at Carefresh close up natural. Gritty and pretty much looks like paper pulp. Some gerbils may be allergic to this Carefresh bedding because it is a little bit dusty. So make sure you try and find the best bedding for your gerbils. And we have corn cob. It's usually used for gerbils who have allergic reactions to such fluffy beddings. Corn cob's kind of rough on the feet, so make sure you put plenty of cardboard and toilet paper in. As you can see, it's little rough granules. Not good for burrowing, but it does help with gerbils with allergies. And we have eco bedding, which is shredded paper. It comes in colors and natural color. Seems to be the best and most preferred. There's a soft granule blend, which is paper, but it seems to be shredded and rolled into little balls that they can chew and shred apart. On to foods. There's plenty of different foods out there. Ecotarian seems to be the most suggested food. There are lots of kinds. Make sure you do your history, look up what kinds are the best, such as fiber content, moisture content, proteins. Finding these different kinds of foods and beddings varies by where you live, whether or not it's the United States or America. Jerry gerbil seems to be a favorite too amongst my friends at the forum. It's made just for gerbils. It's hard to find a food just for gerbils. A lot seem to be hamster gerbil mix. Many different kinds of gerbil feeds, and it may take a while to find one that you think is best for your little buddies. It's always good to give them treats in between, such as fresh cut vegetables and fruits. We have water bottle holders too. Snoop around all your pet shops, and you'll find the perfect little necessities for your little buddies. Gerbils enjoy a good, fun wheeling. It's a good way for exercise and help prevent from digging in corners and leaping at the cage tops. Sometimes I can't decide who gets to run in the wheel and try to do it at the same time. Sometimes it works out, other times not so much. The wheel itself, it's a mesh wire wheel. It's a rather large size, that way for me a lot of my gerbils like to run 2 at a time. It has a pretty strong resistance. Sometimes you'll have to grease it up with some butter or vegetable oil. Other fun things for gerbils, a tissue box. Remove any of the plastic lining. Put the box in. Gerbil will investigate most likely right away. You can make the box a little more interesting by stuffing it up with bedding so they can dig it out. Make it into their own personal little cave. Gerbils love playing in boxes. Some other toys of gerbils are the infamous hamster ball. Gerbils don't seem to take to them as well, but one gerbil's not the same as the other and one may like it. This one's not too enthused. They tend to use the ball as a bathroom more than anything. As you can see, someone had a little wee. Taking a spin. Toilet paper is one of gerbil's favorite substrates. Make sure it's unscented toilet paper. Pop it in. Gerbil will emerge probably from nowhere to take a gander at some new stuff to chew up and shred up. Sometimes you could even put the whole roll of toilet paper in. They will have a ball with that. They'll definitely be used as nesting material. They'll sometimes grab it and try to stuff it into their little cave or box that they have at the time. They'll just pull it into their box and begin ripping, chewing, and tearing to get it to the perfect consistency for a perfect nest. It's a good way to keep them busy. Occupy the gerbil makes a happy gerbil. Even boys like to make a good nest with toilet paper. Pull it in and make it comfy. They'll initiate some play once they get stimulated. It's like somebody wants to get groomed. Play usually ends up in a nice grooming. It's a good way to affirm a bond. I like you. I'm glad you're with me. We're buddies. And when it comes to water, they may not drink all the time, but when they do, they usually take a good, long, well-deserved drink, especially on a hot summer day. Sometimes they seem to go into almost a trance-like state, close their eyes in bliss of water. Sometimes they drink feverishly, as though they forgot they had water. Gerbils are always curious of what their cage mate has and have to check it out. And in this case, it's just water, not that entertaining. But I'm a cute gerbil. Sleep. It's something they'll do a pretty good amount of. Tucked in a little ball, fast asleep. They usually sleep on the surface when it's hot. Gotta love their boxes, and if you can fit the wheel in, put it on in. Some other weird behaviors, or behaviors worthy of talking about. Sometimes gerbils, even after being split-caged, can have little tiffs. Always keep an eye on them when introducing gerbils after split cage. For this case, these two have been together for 4 days, but sometimes dominance battle ensues into the scary ball. If the ball happens, remove them from each other right away. Make sure you have an oven mitt handy. In other cases, it's not always a ball that instigates. It just depends on if one gerbil's ready to step down and be the less dominant of the two. In this case, they'll pin one down, lick each other's mouths. Saliva is a good way to tell each other apart from any other gerbils. Scent mark each other as well. When pinned down, this gerbil did not fight back, so a ball was not ensued. And they're good friends. Just gotta pick who's the boss of the cage. Some more fun toys. Toilet paper tubes, plenty of boxes. Can even leave some of the toilet paper left on the tube for a good chew. The chew extravaganza for these little gerbils. Always try to keep them occupied with all the cardboard you can. Forget the recycling bin, you have gerbils. Just make sure that the cardboard boxes you use don't have anything wet or gunky on them from food residues or were used for frozen foods. It's best just to use cracker boxes, cereal boxes, tissue boxes. They'll make fun of it. Every once in a while with a mummy and her babies, once they start leaving the nest, they can be quite a mouthful. Trying to capture them and bring them back to the nest can be daunting. Sometimes Mummy would appreciate a good little hand in help of keeping everybody wrangled up. If you notice this, that there happens to be multiple nests, some babies might be alone and get cold like this one. Worried me at first. He's okay, just a little cold. Give him a little pet, warm him up. He's okay. Just make sure that when you collect them, put them all together in the same nest. Eventually Mummy will catch on. Sometimes it can just be a little stressful. In most cases you leave Dad in to help her, but we didn't want her to have too many litters, so Dad's next door, and I think sometimes she gets a little distracted by the man next door. hard to keep those babies in a nest once they learn how to wiggle a bell. Crickets. It's a good way to entertain your gerbils and give them plenty of protein. It's a good way to entertain yourself too. Go for a nighttime hunt. Got our crickets, they seem a little scared. Crickets could stay still, they do not want to be detected. So the gerbils will sniff, 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 because they can definitely sniff them out. And then finally, success. Their wriggly little meal has been caught. Some gerbils might like crickets more than others. Some may be picky eaters and only eat the crunchy arms. Others enjoy the juices of the abdomen. But either way, it's a good fun experience for them. Take them into the tub. Gerbils love a good run around in a tub. Should make sure you cover the little drain hole at the end so they can't wriggle down there and be sewer gerbils. Give them a little box or something in the tub that they're used to from their nest in case they get a little scared at first. And then they like to have a good little sprint. Sometimes they'll roll in the tub as if the texture feels like sand. They know it's a tub, time to get clean. Let's introduce a cricket again, try to get a better view of the hunt. They are a little distracted of being in the tub, but still can't help the predatory need to kick in. To eat, eat, eat. Intruder. They also like to toy with their food. They'll capture it, bite it a little bit, and then we'll let it go again. You can smell it, but where'd it go? You can jump in the tub with your gerbils too. It's a good way for them to learn about you, get used to your smell, especially if they're new gerbils. You could be part of their jungle gym. Let's take a look into the nests of our gerbils. Always been interested in the nests. Always wish I could turn into a little fuzzy and get inside of their nests. This one looks like it has multi-chambers. We're inside one box. You can see this little hole down here that leads into another box. Full of bedding. Someone's moving things around. See a little tail and a little rustling about. Another one coming in. Curious of the cam. A little nose. Side view of a nest. Sometimes they'll leave some of their nest exposed next to the glass so you can take a good look inside into their multi-chambered little nests that they get. That's the benefits of giving your gerbils heaping amounts of bedding. Inches and inches. I'd say at least give them 6 to 8 inches of bedding. Cardboard and toilet paper and they'll get there. They'll build the perfect little casa. Waking up from a nap and giving himself a little groom. Burrowing is pretty essential for gerbils. It's what they do in the wild. So it's important to let your gerbils have the opportunity to burrow. Helps them feel safe and keeps them happy.